Welcome back to the Retrograde here on Dead Jester Cinema, where on this episode we are going to go back and look at the 2009 remake to My Bloody Valentine, My Bloody Valentine 3D! Now this is a film that's always kind of piqued my interest because I've always heard kind of good things about it. I've never really heard bad things, and especially as far as remakes go, when people talk about the remakes of that time, they do kind of speak a little bit more favorably towards this one, even with the kind of sus 3D effects, which I'm sure are in there. But without further ado, let's jump right in to My Bloody Valentine 3D.
Shit.
My Bloody Valentine is the story of Tom Hanniger, who is returning home to Harmony after disappearing for 10 years when he was blamed for a mining accident that caused a collapse and also caused old Harry Warden to go all cray-cray and go on a murder spree. But Tom is back in town to sell the mine that he inherited from his deceased father, and he seems to give zero fucks that selling and closing the mine would destroy the lives of everyone in town. So you can imagine how well that goes over with the locals.
Cocksucker!
All the while, he is rekindling an old flame he had with his ex-girlfriend Sarah, who is now married to pretty boy sheriff Axel Palmer. Meanwhile, Tom's return has also coincided with the return of Harry Warden, who once again takes up the pickaxe and starts his super happy fun murders again, but this time in 3D! Now, right off the bat, one thing I'll give this remake over the original is that there does seem to be more going on. We get some kind of meaningful plot with Tom's character selling the mine and how that's affecting everyone in town, along with the love triangle drama between him, Axel, and Sarah. And even if that drama does go a little daytime soapy here and there, I do really like the chemistry between all three of those actors. All in all, it makes for a more balanced film from start to finish with better pacing. Plus, there are also some nice callbacks to the original sprinkled throughout. But that doesn't mean that this film doesn't have its fair share of shortcomings. While the story might be marginally better than the original, the direction somehow manages to feel cheaper. And that's really saying something considering how cheaply the original was made. But this just feels like a 100-minute TV show. A lot of the shots are just flatly lit, or they are too desaturated and washed out. I don't know if that's because of the 3D effects that they are using and that's why it needed to look the way it did. It's just not what I was expecting from a major motion picture, and especially compared against its contemporaries in the remake genre. Another thing that I found really lacking in this movie is embracing that Valentine's Day holiday. Like I commented on in the original, the town went hardcore for Valentine's Day, and all of those decorations put you in that moment and you really feel the atmosphere of the holiday itself. Plus it adds a little bit extra to that production design too. Here, outside of a couple minor window decorations and some candy boxes, this could have been any old day out of the year. It's like the time and setting really didn't matter, like it was an afterthought. Along with that, I do miss the legend of Harry Warden in this. That was such an integral part of the original, as it was the setup and catalyst for the entire movie. Here, it's non-existent, or if it is, it's not heavily referenced, and doesn't impact the story one way or the other. So while this remake is new and updated, and it has, all the bells and whistles of modern technology, and has the slicker production, it does lack that charm that the original had. Now the kills. Good God, the kills. Now some are legit good, and some others are...
Check this out.
Like, I don't know what the intent was supposed to be. Like, am I supposed to really be laughing at this? Like, look at this kill. Look at the way the pickaxe just comes in. I know it's a 3D effect, but it looks so stupid. And then because it's... What the fuck is that? Oops! Oh, there she goes! Oh, shit! But that's the thing. Like, I found myself here laughing more than being shocked. Now, if that was the intent, then good on them. That, mission accomplished. But if it wasn't, then... oh boy, this movie has serious issues. And like I said, some of that was just how silly these kills were, and a lot of that just boils down to how they did the 3D. Because there were some legit gruesome kills in there, but They would insert this really tacky 3D effect and it would completely deflate that moment and take you right out of the movie. I've never been a fan of 3D. It's gimmicky and almost always does more harm to a movie than good. And here, if they just made this a standard film and resisted the urge of the resurgence of 3D at the time, I probably would have enjoyed this more than I did. But let's talk some characters here, and I got about 20 minutes into this movie when I realized there is not one single likable character in this thing. The kids at the beginning are all annoying and stupid. The town sheriff is a scumbag cheating on his wife. Discount Steve Austin Trucker here is an even bigger scumbag. Plus the girl he's screwing is annoying as hell. And I'm sitting here going, who in the hell am I supposed to care about? Because right now, I wish them all a bloody pickaxe death. This was the same problem I've had with other remakes of this generation like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. In an attempt to make the characters feel more real, they write them all in such a way that they come off as assholes. And assholes that you actively root against. I mean, unless that says something more about our modern society than I realize. Oh, and by the way, whoever is playing the sheriff is far too young and far too Hollywood pretty boy to be a small town sheriff in the Midwest. Trust me, I grew up in the Midwest. I know. Obviously, I'm being a little hyperbolic here. Not all of the characters were awful. I do like Jensen as Tom Hanniger, but we'll get back to him in just a brief minute. And hey, they even blew the dust off Tom Atkins and he makes a cameo and he's a lot of fun.
Everybody stand down, God damn it!
Now, my biggest issue with the original was how they chose to reveal Axel as the killer and the extremely vague and nondescript way they chose to explain why he's doing what he's doing. So in this remake, I thought this is the prime example to kind of, erase the sins of the past, start anew, and maybe offer a little bit more deeper insight as to why the killer's doing what he's doing. And did they do that here? No. Now in this version they flipped it, so it's not Axel who's the killer, it's actually Tom. And the one thing they did expand on is Tom's psychosis is a bit of a split personality disorder. So that when he gets his murderous impulses, he literally kind of becomes Harry Warden, and even changes the inflection in his voice.
Oh, I'm right here.
I mean, either that or he's actually possessed by the spirit of Harry Warden. I mean, I don't know, take your pick. I think both are equally stupid. But this reveal is yet again another big WTF moment, as it gives us absolutely nothing for a motive. Once again, it's just this guy snaps and wants to start murdering because that's what the original did. Also, we get no song or ballad of Harry Warden at the end of this movie. Boo! But that was more or less My Bloody Valentine 3D. I know I went through this review pretty quick, but before we get to my final grades, let's look at my highs and my lows. I honestly think my favorite moment of this movie was when he kills that short lady in the hotel room. It's so absurd and looks so goofy that I can't help but bust out laughing every time I see it. Now for the worst moment, I had thought about going for the reveal of the killer again and his motives, but luckily that was all trumped by the awful 3D effects, which do absolutely nothing for this movie and drag it down. But My Bloody Valentine comes in with an overall grade of a 75.75%, meaning that is good enough for a just flat grade of a C. And sliding in here is that grading breakdown. As you can see, I gave the direction a C-. I wasn't that impressed with it. The story gets a B-. It's about on par with the original. The original does some things better. The remake does some things better. So they're a little bit even in that regard. The characters get a C. I don't really care enough about any of them. I do like the dynamic between the main three, but that's really not saying much. And the music gets a C+. It's okay. It just feels like stock horror music. Nothing memorable to write home about. But that's it for My Bloody Valentine 3D. Like I said, it gets that grade of a C, so it's not great and it's not horrible. It's definitely watchable, but it just feels like another soulless remake in my opinion. But anyways, what were your guys' thoughts on My Bloody Valentine 3D? Please post them below. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Adios. Happy Valentine's Day. Now, GTFO!